Hello, everyone. My name is Caitlin. I am on our implementation team here at Micro Accounting. If you do not know me yet, I joined the team almost a year ago. So today we are going to talk a little bit about dashboards and Sage Intacct. And today this is just a quick review of what we're going to go over today on our webinar. It's going to be part presentation and part demonstration. We're going to get into the software and build out some webinars. First, I'm going to just explain why we think that dashboards are a good idea, what kind of problems they solve for organizations, and show you what dashboards are, kind of walk through the basics, and then we're going to get into the software, go over how to grant deny access to dashboards, show how to edit existing dashboards. We're going to create a dashboard from a current one that's in the system and even create dashboards from scratch. So the first thing, before we go any further, I wanted to give you guys an easy reference for what the icons mean in the dashboards that we're going to be going in to create and what we're going to see in today's demonstration. This image is available in the Help Center if you search dashboard icons. But I wanted to make this kind of a reference page on the presentation for you guys to go back and be able to pull up later. Another thing that I wanted to put in a reference page for you guys is how you grant permissions on dashboards, even though I will be showing you this whenever we get into the software. On the left hand of the screen here, you'll see how you grant overall permissions to dashboards. That's like how you make it show up on the drop-down menu. And a couple of important reminders on the permissions for dashboards is that you must have permissions to access the dashboard at the dashboard level. So each individual dashboard has its own permissions. And in order to see the information displayed on the dashboard, you also have to have the appropriate permissions for that as well. So for example, if you have to have permissions to view revenue in order to see a dashboard item that displays current revenue. So I want to go into a little bit about why we think that dashboards are important here. So without dashboards, the old way of doing things, most companies face two big issues. So the first thing is that whenever it's time to analyze your financial data, you're jumping from report to work to get meaningful metrics from those reports. So one report will answer some questions with like balance statements, and then other questions are answered with cash flow statements, that sort of things. And then by the time you export and crunch those numbers in spreadsheets to get some good key performance metrics, that it's no longer current because it's been exported and crunched and formatted. And all the time it took to do all of that, the numbers have changed by that point. So another problem that people run into is that whenever you're in Intacct, you do have all of that data there, but you're having to jump from menu to menu to do your daily job duties. So for example, if you have to approve expense reports or approve payments, you're having to jump between two kind of different modules within Intacct to view a report, a GL report versus viewing a financial report. You have to jump between menus. So dashboards solve these problems by putting everything into one screen. And as you'll see, they're very customizable, very, very flexible in the data that they're showing you, and they give you very quick business insight and access only to the information that's pertinent to you. So the promise of the dashboard is that you have all of your current information in one place. A dashboard gathers reports, charts, and metrics into a single view. It's more than just having your current reports there at your fingertips. It allows you to include information that you need for the task at hand because, as I mentioned, they are completely customizable. If your role is to manage expenses, you can create a dashboard that's focused on the metrics and reporting that go into expenses. You can add in lists of recent expense reports, that sort of thing. But maybe you're the CFO and you require a dashboard that's a 30,000-foot view of the company, and you need the ability to drill down into the details behind those metrics and summaries that you're seeing on the dashboard. The idea of a dashboard is to create a tool to accelerate and inform you in your daily job. So far, I've just told you a little bit more. And as you can see in this image, dashboards can be jam-packed with different types of information: revenue analysis, budget comparisons, location analytics, key metrics, that sort of thing. But that's enough of the slides. We are now going to get into building dashboards in the software. So I want to make sure that everybody can see my screen. I believe that you can here. So the first thing, okay, good, perfect. The first thing that we are going to review is how to give permissions to dashboards. So to make it pop up on this menu right here for dashboards. So what you'll do is you'll go to company and to the admin tab. And if you are using role-based permissions, then you would go to your roles. Now, if you have user-based permissions, then you would just follow these steps for your individual users here. But we are in role-based here, so we're just going to go to our roles. Maybe if it's going to load, there it goes. All right, whoopsies. Okay, so whichever role you would like to grant permissions to for dashboards, you're just going to select that role and go to subscriptions. And once you're here, you're going to go to your company permissions, and you can scroll down quite a little ways until you see dashboards. And here I'm on an admin role, so this user group this role has all of the permissions, right? But if you would like to only have a role be able to view dashboards, all you need to do is have this list in view selected. But if you would like a role to be able to add or edit or delete dashboards, you can grant or deny those permissions as needed there. So I'm not going to make any changes here. I need to be able to do all of the things to dashboards in our demonstrations today. So that just gets me this dashboard icon on our drop-down menu here. And as I mentioned, that dashboards, the permissions are given at the actual dashboard level. So the first thing I wanted to point out here on this menu is that there are these cool folders here, and I will show you how you do grant your permissions or how you can set up these folders with different dashboards here. But for the first part of this, we're just worried about permissions. So I'm going to go to our dashboards list view here. And this gives me a list of all of my dashboards. So if I wanted to grant or deny permissions to a specific dashboard, what I would do is I would go to edit this dashboard here, and I'll go to the permissions tab. Now, don't worry, I will go over all these other options here further along in our demonstration. But right now, just permissions. So the best way to think about permissions is that you can think about allowing everybody access and then denying specific users or user groups, or you can deny everybody access and allow specific users or user groups. So in this case, I just want myself as a user to have access to this particular dashboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deny everybody access, and then it's just me. I'm just a user, so I'm just going to find my user here and hit add, and I'm going to allow myself. Now, if anybody else were to go into their dashboards, they would not see this particular dashboard on their screen. Only myself can do that here. I did mention these user groups, so you can add a specific user group here. So I have a user group called non-super users, but I did want to review how to add a user group here, because maybe there is a group of people that you would want to give specific access to dashboards for. So let me just duplicate the screen really quick here. And I'm going to review how to add user groups to your system. So under company, if you go to groups, you'll see here that I have this one user group here. I'm going to just add one, and I'm just going to call it demo 1 for dashboards. And now, if I wanted to add specific roles, so maybe I needed a user group just for my AP managers and my employee users. I can add those two specific roles to this group, and anybody that had that role would be part of this group. However, if I didn't want to go by roles, I just wanted to go by individuals, what I would do is I would hit save without adding any roles there. And it will allow me the opportunity to add a specific user. So I'm going to add Emma. Now, if I needed more than one user here, I would just hit save and new. But if I'm just going to add 2 here and hit save. Once I hit save here, you'll see now that I have this demo user group. If I did ever need to add members to this group or remove members, all I have to do is click that members link and I will pop up right there. And I now have that user group available. Let me refresh my screen here. All right. And now if I wanted to add the group, I have my demo group there. I can add them and I can deny everybody access and only add that demo group there. So that is how you would grant access to specific dashboards within the dashboard module. Now, what I want to go over now is how to edit an existing dashboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a dashboard in our environment here. I'm just going to review a couple of the settings and kind of what some of these things mean up here. So as you'll see across the top of my dashboard, I have this as of date at the top, and I also have 3-dimensional filters. And then I have this button here that allows me to clear any filters that I've put in there, and I can also add filters, and I would have to use that button to apply those filters as well. This plus sign is the button that I would use to add a component. So a component are any of these things that are on the screen here. The settings, this gear are the settings for the overall dashboard. These copy papers are how I would clone a dashboard or duplicate it in order to make any changes and not affect anybody else that has access to this dashboard here. And then this print icon is what I would use if I would like to print this dashboard and have it pop up and be able to give it to somebody else. Now, I'm going to go into the settings of this dashboard here. So if I click the dashboard settings, the first thing is the appearance. So I can update the title of the dashboard, the description of the dashboard. I can set how many columns are available on my dashboard. So this particular dashboard has 3 columns here, 1, 2, and that's a 3rd column. We do suggest only using, even though this one has 3, only using 2 columns. They say that if you're looking at a dashboard on a mobile device, such as like an iPad, that the 2 columns work better for those mobile devices. So just a heads up there. A flexible width column will allow your items here to kind of expand or contract across based on their size. Give me 1 second. I got a cough. I don't want to cough on you guys. All right, sorry about that. Okay, and then the background color. So you can change the background color. As you can see, this one is gray here, but you have a lot of options. If you are using multiple dashboards and you're as you're in the software daily, this is just kind of a quick, easy visual way to determine which dashboard you're on so you can kind of make it easier for yourself. And then the dashboard group, this is what drives the dashboards to kind of be in those folders. And I'll show you how to add a new group later on, but those are those folders that are showing up on my menu over here. And you can add and kind of put your dashboards in groups together. So the filters tab, this is what's driving what's up here at the top of my dashboard. These are filtering the data of everything that is in the dashboard. So I have my as of date here, and I can only have 3-dimensional filters up at the top. So if I maybe was not concerned about the item here, but I wanted to know about the channel or maybe even the department, all you have to do is unclick and then click a different one. I'm not going to change this particular dashboard, but that would be how I would update that. And then, of course, the dashboard permissions, which we just reviewed. So I'm going to cancel out of this really quick and just kind of dive a little bit deeper into these dashboards here. So up here at the top, you have these performance cards. And what these are these are kind of your key metrics in a very easy visual way. You can drill down further into a performance card to see the GL account group totals behind the metric that is within that performance card. There is an exception for this, that whenever you build a performance card based on a calculated account group, like a revenue per employee, there is no direct drill down behind it, though it is easy enough to include other performance cards across the top there for the groups that are going into that calculation so that you could drill down further into those. And we will see more of what that's like later. I'm going to build out some performance cards for you guys. And you can see these are so customizable because maybe I don't like where this one is. All I have to do is drag and drop and move it over. And then I can, everything is drag and drop on the screen, and I can, of course, add components here. So I did want to go over what these icons were within the individual components of the dashboard. So this is a filter. This is where you could filter each individual component of the dashboard, you filter just based on this particular component, not the whole overall dashboard itself. You have this refresh here. So if I make any changes and I want to refresh this component, it will do so. And then here are the component settings. So each component has its own set of settings, just like the dashboard itself has its settings. And then if I don't like a component here, I could just delete that component. So going further down into the different types of components here, anything that is a blue link is something that I could drill further down into here. So if I wanted to drill further down into this information here, I can go all the way down into an individual item. So in here, I can drill all the way down to the invoice itself and view that invoice and even print that invoice straight from my dashboard without having to go to any item, any different menus. And I'm still keeping all of my information up over here on the screen, which is really, really cool. So this is the power of the dashboard and how they can make your life so much more efficient while using Sage Intacct. So that's how we can drill down in. I also have the ability to edit reports directly from the dashboard. So this is a financial report here. And if I click that pencil icon, you can see here that it opens up the actual report that I'm looking at here, and I can make any edits. Just please note that any changes that you make on this report right here, it is going to affect that report within all of Sage Intacct if you are editing it directly from the dashboard. But if you are making changes to reports often, it's very, very easy. Again, I don't have to go through a bunch of menu items to go edit a report that I'm looking at. Again, the refresh icon here is the same as it was up there, but this little magnifying glass allows us to open up this report outside of our dashboard. So as you can see within my dashboard there, it only has a few lines, right? And that's based on the settings of that component. However, I can open up this report further and get the full report if it is something that's longer, that's not the whole thing is not shown on my dashboard. All right, so that's just a basics overall review of dashboards and kind of what the buttons mean. So the next thing I want to show you is how to use an existing dashboard to build your own. So I'm going to open up a different dashboard here and go to the role-based dashboard of the AP Manager, just to kind of give you all a little bit different view, see what it looks like here. So as you can see, this dashboard looks very, very different because it is for a different person within the company. They have some custom navigation links, even notes like policy reminders. They have charts, graphs, and lists here. And maybe I like this, but I want to make one just for myself. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to clone this dashboard, and I'm going to name it Kate's AP dashboard. And I am going to make a new group. So I don't want it to show up in the same group that it is here. I'm going to create a new group, and you could name the group whatever you want. I'm just going to name this demo. And I like everything else that is here as far as the filters, but for permissions, I'm going to deny everybody, and I'm only going to allow myself access to this because it's just my dashboard. So external user, me. And then I'm going to click save. So now I'm going to just refresh my screen really quick because it's always a good idea to do a little refresh. And I am going to go to my dashboards, and you can see here that I have a demo and my AP dashboard here, and here it is. So I could add any components, I could change the background color, I can make any changes I want and not affect anybody else that might have been utilizing that AP Manager dashboard. So I'm going to get in more into adding components because we are going to build a dashboard from scratch. So how you can do that is you can just go to dashboards, and just like all over Sage Intacct, if you click the plus icon, you are going to make a new dashboard. So I'm just going to do demo dashboard, and I'm going to keep the columns at 2, and I am going to make my background color purple so that it's easy for me to notice. And I'm going to click demo. And I am going to put the as of date, and I want department, location, and channel here. So my 3 filters. And then permissions, I'm going to give access to everybody here. So that's what I'm going to do, and hit save. And now you'll see here that I do have this dashboard right here on my dashboard list. And if I refresh my screen, I will have access to that on my menu as well. So there's my demo folder, and I'm going to go to the demo dashboard. And it is blank because I have not added any components yet. So now it is time for me to add a component. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit the plus symbol, and you will see that there are different component types. Now it looks like you only have 6, but that is just not true. It seems like a short list, but each type of component represents a lot of options available for you. So for example, if I choose general here, you'll see that under the component, I have calendars, I have shortcuts, resources, attachment containers, lots and lots of things. If I choose chart here, then I have different charts that I can select out of my company. So I can do financial charts or any memorized custom charts that I have made. And any of my financial charts that I've built out are right there as well. Again, for a component type, I have those performance cards, which were those little key indicators up top that we saw. And the reports are any of the financial or memorized reports that I've had in my system. We'll dig into those a little bit more later. A record is a list or a view of records like customers, bills, or projects. You can see if I select this one that there are a ton of options here. We're going to dive deeper into this. I just want to do a quick overview of this, but tons and tons of options. And then we also have these smart links. So this is the one that I'm going to start off with. So smart links are a way of interacting outside of your financial system. So it can be a simple link to like an external website, or it can be what's called a mashup, where you can display an external web page on your dashboard. So an example of that might be like a FedEx tracking page, so you can quickly drop in your tracking numbers to see where shipments are, that sort of thing. So the first thing that I am going to do is I am going to add some links for myself to add to the dashboard. So maybe in my daily job, I need to go to a different web-based system to do part of my job. So one of Intacct's marketplace partners is Stamply. So if I needed to go into Stamply and add bills, do that sort of thing within Stamply, I can add this directly to my dashboard in Sage Intacct. So I'm just going to copy a URL to Stamply here and put that in there. And then also, I want to have a micro blog. I want to have a link to the micro accounting blog because I know that micro accounting posts tons and tons of amazing, amazing blog posts, and they have great webinars every month. And I want to be able to register for those webinars very quickly whenever I'm on my dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And now I have some quick links where I can click from my dashboard here. Again, I'm not having to add a different tab. I'm not having to add anything like that. I think I didn't copy and paste the correct link here, but that's okay because what I can do is hit the settings of that. I'm going to make sure that I have copied the correct thing. Yep, I put the same link twice. That's fine. Here we go. All right, save. Now, what I can do is click this link here, and as you can see in another screen, it will pop up our resources for micro accounting, and I can go register for any of our webinars or view any of our blog posts. So super easy, and I didn't have to leave Intacct, and I didn't have to go to any menus, open different tabs, do any Googling. It's all right there and ready for me. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a report. So I am going to go to report and I'm going to leave it on financial report. So if I wanted to make my list of financial reports smaller that I had to select from, I could choose the report type and my report audience. Those are the different kind of buckets that you can put reports in, but I'm not going to do any of that today. I'm just going to go ahead and choose my balance sheet condensed report. And I'm going to leave the component title the same here, or maybe I'll just change it so that you can see that it looks different. And as you can see here, I can choose to change the number of rows. I'm going to allow all rows, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to turn off the auto height and change it to 200 pixels. So if I had a big report that I didn't want refreshing all of the time, I might change this report view to snapshot, but I wouldn't suggest doing that. As long as you have it's not a very giant report, you should be fine. Dashboard filtering here, this is what it's allowing to pull the filters from the top over here down into the report that you're about to pull, and that is what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. All right, so as you can see in this balance sheet, that I have this balance sheet report here. Now, if I wanted to change the settings and I wanted to make it have automatic height, I could just go ahead and do that, and you can see that it will update the height of that component right there. And also, you can see on this report that I have some visual indicators. So maybe I don't want those rules there. I don't know why you wouldn't, but we're going to pretend that I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this balance sheet with it. And I'm going to go to my columns. So on my current month, maybe I don't like green. Okay, so I want to change my highlight color to yellow. So if it's greater than 100,000, then it's going to now be yellow instead of green. And I'm going to hit save and done. So it'll exit out of that. All I have to do is hit this refresh button, and all of a sudden I have yellow highlighting. I just made, and this is true for any change that you make to a financial report on a dashboard, it can all be done from here. I didn't have to go through 100 menu items up here to get there. And that is where your efficiency is coming from in dashboards. So the other thing, again, I've already shown you how you can drill down further from those reports. It does another piece that just makes the reports within your dashboards very, very great. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add a chart as well. So I want to see something visual on my dashboard. So I'm going to put a chart, and I'm going to choose a financial chart. And I'm just going to do a budget versus actual chart. All right, and maybe I want my chart to be, I like pie, so I'm going to choose pie chart. And I'm going to leave everything else the same, and I'm going to hit save. What I'm also going to do is change the date because I am in my demo environment where I want there to be actual information there. So I'm going to hit apply my filter just so we have information pop up here. And you'll see how those numbers change. All right, so I like pie and I made a pie chart, but I'm like, uh-oh, this is a budget versus actual. And pie charts are not great for the information that I need to see here. So it is so easy to change it though, right? So all I have to do is edit my component settings for that chart, and I can change it from pie to maybe a, I'm gonna do a stacked column and see what happens. Also, I wanna know what's going on. So I'm gonna add a legend to it, and I'm gonna hit save. So now all of a sudden I have a chart that is actually really great chart, right? It gives me a good visual of what's going on here. And as you can see, as I hover over, I will see the information. And if I click into that, it will give me the information from that chart as well. You can also show the data, so show like a table behind the graph as well directly from the dashboard. All right, and now the next component I want to show you is an often overlooked component, and that is the record view. So from the record view, the first type of record I am going to choose is maybe customers. So I want a list of our customers, and from here I'm going to choose a view. So the view are your list views within your software. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to go to my customers to show you what I'm talking about. So this is your list view. And as you saw, I had to go through 100 menus to get here, no big deal. But I have these lists, right? Those are my custom list views over here. As you can see, whenever I am adding, maybe if I can pull it up, there we go. Whenever I'm adding the component of the record view, I can choose that user view that I would like to. So if I have a custom view that I use all the time, I can select it right there. And I'm just going to name this customer list. I can choose the number of rows that I want, and I'm going to show it as an automatic height. You can also put in your order and hit save. Now my customer list has popped up, but I want it to kind of like move over here. I don't need all of this information on one side, right? So I'm just going to drag and drop, easy peasy, no big deal. I didn't have to get IT involved, and I just made a change to my dashboard. So the next thing that I find super useful in dashboards are approval views. So this is another type of record that you can add. And say in my daily job that I needed to approve payments. So if some of my accounts payable team are marking bills to be paid, but I need to go in here and approve these payments. So I'm going to put in my view. I have a list view of payments that I need to approve. I'm going to put in 10 rows and I'm going to hit save. So what will happen is that whenever I log in for the day, if I can see this view right here, I see, uh-oh, I have 3 payments that I need to approve. If there was nothing in my list, this would just be blank right here and it would say approve payments. I know I don't have anything to do. So this is a way to get around getting 500 emails every day for every time one of your team members submits either an expense or a timesheet or payments or whatever for approval. You can just keep them on your dashboard and keep them up with them right there. So the best part of this is that I'm, rocking and rolling. I'm digging into my balance sheet. I'm doing my job, and I see one pop up. I don't have to leave this screen anymore to go approve the payments. I can hit the magnifying glass, and all of a sudden, right here, I can see that my teammate submitted for a payment for $500, and I can, oh, I was expecting that, and I can approve it. I can type in my comments, approve. I get that approved right there. Maybe I only want to look at that. I'm going to do like a little refresh here. And all of a sudden on my dashboard, I now only have 2 instead of 3. So you can literally do your work from your dashboard without ever having to leave. I'm going to say that probably 900 more times today. So the last thing that they're kind of silly things, but I love them, is adding some general items to my dashboard. So I always forget what day of the week it is. So I'm going to add a calendar to my dashboard, right? And I'm going to make the height 200, and I'm just going to hit save here. So from my dashboard, no longer am I having to go into like, X out of Intacct so I can go pull up my calendar down at the bottom. It's right here on my dashboard by my quick links. I've got my calendar view, good to go. The next thing that I want to do is I want to add some attachments to my dashboard. So within Intacct, we do have attachments, and you don't have to only use these for customer attachments. You can also put some of your your company information if you wanted to. So maybe I have a checklist that I use every day, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an attachment container, and I'm just going to name this checklist. And then I'm going to select my attachment. So I have attachment, it's the attachment that I want for my dashboard. So I've preloaded this in here. If you want help or to see how to get multiple attachments into an attachment container, ask a question in the webinar box. I can show you all that at the end if we have time. I'm just making the assumption here that everybody knows kind of the power of attachments in Intacct outside of just putting it on a document itself, like attaching a bill to an AP bill or something like that. Sage has some really great organizational structure within Intacct, within the attachments set up that we can utilize here. So if you have questions about that, just drop them in the questions box and we can get back to that. So the last thing, I have added pretty much one type of every component here that I want to touch on are those performance cards up at the top. So I'm going to start by creating a performance card based on an existing account group. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new account group based on a statistical account and a financial account calculation. So as a reminder, a statistical account is just a general ledger account that keeps track of non-financial information like the number of employees, your hours of operation, or even the number of rental units, something like that. And using a calculation account group, what you can do is get a metric like revenue per square foot or expenses per employee or something like that. So after I create that new account group, I'm going to create a performance card based on that group. So let's get started with that. And here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to add a performance card for revenue. So what I'm interested in is the revenue per employee in my company. So I'm going to select the account group, accounts receivable, and I'm going to select a reporting period. And I want to know about my current year. Revenue is a currency, so I'm going to show it as an amount with currency. And I'm just going to round it to a whole number here. I did want to point out that you can select multiple reporting books. If you do have multiple reporting books here, I'm going to keep it at single, but that is the option here. And you can choose whether or not you want to compare it to a period or a budget or have no comparison. And I'll show you where that shows up here once we get this performance card set up. The icon here, these are really fun, right? So I love the icons. I'm going to make it just a colored dot for right now. So I am going to make it a green dot. So you can choose red or green, and this is just based on when it exceeds whatever you're comparing it to. So compared to my prior period. If it goes up from my prior period, this is revenue, it's a good thing, it's green, but you can choose to select that as red. And then you can also choose to show that as a percent change or a period difference. This is revenue. I want to know it as a percent change. And then also, just so you know, you can filter this data further based just with this one performance card versus the overall filters that I have set up over here. I'm not going to do that in this case. I'm just going to hit save. And I have my revenue performance card. Now I'm going to add another one, and this one is going to be my employee head count just very quickly. So I'm just going to head count, and I'm going to, I already had these three set up. This is not a currency. This is just a number. I'm going to round it to a whole number because hopefully we don't have any half people in our company. And I'm going to look, make sure you're using the same period if you are going to be comparing these things. And I'm going to compare to the prior period. And for this, I want to use a just an arrow, okay? And if it goes up, it's green. And I am going to just show this as a period difference. I want to know how many more people I've gotten in the past year. And I'm going to hit save. All right, so as you can see down here, my revenue went up this percentage versus the prior year. My head count did not have any change. So that's that period comparison down here that we selected at the bottom. Because there was no change here, I don't have an arrow or a dot, I have nothing here. And now I'm going to go ahead and I am going to add that account group that I was talking about. So I'm just going to go over to General Ledger and go to account groups. And I want to show you how easy this is. If I wanted to, I could add this link to my dashboard. So if you have to add account groups often, you could link to that on your dashboard and never have to leave, but we're just going to go with it right now. So revenue per employee, I'm going to leave it on the report as that. And I'm going to change my structure type to a computation. So the first one that I'm going to, oops, I'm not, accounts receivable. And then I'm going to divide by my account group employee head count. And I am not, I'm going to use the unit of a $sign here and hit save. All right, so now I have that account group. So I am just going to go and quickly add this performance card and do revenue per employee and revenue per employee down there at the bottom. It is a currency, it's a whole number, and I am going to select the same period that I did last time, and I always love the happy face, so I'm going to keep it as a green smile, look at my percent change, and save. All right, so just like that, I have a performance card that is going to combine my operational metric and my financial metric. So my head count and my revenue. It's going to give me better insight. It's very easy to see. And hey, it's kind of fun because it has a happy face on it. So all in all, I have created a dashboard in like less than 30 minutes that has links to any websites that I might need to go to. It has a calendar that if I wanted it up top so I could see it up top, it would show up right there. I can do any approvals I might need to do. I can have visuals of any of the information I might need and drill directly into even some of my financial data all the way down to an invoice or a bill if I needed to directly from the dashboard without having to see it or leave that screen. All right, so now that we're done, I just want to go over a quick overview. As you saw, they're fully customizable. We can start from scratch very easily. Didn't have to get IT involved. I can either clone and edit one to kind of use one as a backbone or start from scratch. So dashboards that can be role-based, which makes it easy to give information that's just within similar, that everybody in similar roles would use. You can make user-based dashboards that are customized to a specific user groups, analysis-based, outcome-based, even industry-based. So if you work in projects, we can make project dashboards, anything like that. So also, you have your components that we went through, your performance cards. Those are direct comparisons, relative correlations. They use account groups. You have reports, charts, and graphs that you can drill into the details and show either financial or memorized reports or charts. You can add your records or your lists or even your queries like and your approval, that sort of thing. And you can do your job directly from your dashboard. I didn't show you this, but you can also include Intacct Collaborate. So if you are using Intacct Collaborate to speak with your team within Sage Intacct, you can add that to your dashboard. And then again, there's links to online guides, industry websites, that sort of thing. Anything with a URL, you can link to it.